Hey history fans, today we're diving into the life of America's 13th president, a man who never won a presidential election but still managed to shape the nation during one of its most turbulent periods. Meet Millard Fillmore, the accidental president who helped hold the Union together, at least for a while. But how did a poor farm boy from upstate New York end up in the White House? Let's find out. Millard Fillmore was born on January 7, 1800, in a one-room log cabin in the Finger Lakes region of New York. His family was dirt poor, so poor that young Millard had to work on the farm instead of attending school regularly. But here's where Fillmore's story gets interesting. Despite having almost no formal education, he was hungry to learn. At age 14, his father apprenticed him to a clothmaker, hoping to give him a trade. Fillmore hated it, but he used his spare time wisely, teaching himself to read law books and expanding his vocabulary. By age 19, he had saved enough money to buy his way out of his apprenticeship. He then taught himself law while working as a schoolteacher to pay the bills. Talk about determination. In 1823, he was admitted to the New York bar and opened his own law practice in East Aurora. Fillmore's legal career took off, and so did his interest in politics. He joined the anti-Masonic Party, which opposed secret societies, pretty progressive for its time. This led to his election to the New York State Assembly in 1828. In the 1830s, Fillmore switched to the newly formed Whig Party, which favoured a strong national government and internal improvements like roads and canals. The Whigs loved Fillmore's moderate approach and his ability to work across party lines. He served 4 terms in the U.S. House of Representatives, where he became known for his expertise on tariff policy. Fillmore believed protective tariffs would help American businesses compete with foreign imports, a position that made him popular in industrial northern states. By the 1840s, Fillmore had become one of the most prominent Whig politicians in New York. His moderate views on slavery, he personally opposed it but thought the federal government shouldn't interfere with it in existing states, made him an attractive candidate for national office. In 1848, the Whigs nominated war hero Zachary Taylor for president and chose Fillmore as his running mate to balance the ticket. Taylor was a Southern slaveholder, while Fillmore represented the more moderate northern wing of the party. They won the election, and Fillmore became vice president in March 1849. But here's the twist that changed everything. President Taylor died suddenly of illness in July 1850, just 16 months into his presidency. At age 50, Millard Fillmore was suddenly the most powerful man in America, thrust into office during one of the most dangerous political crises in the nation's history. The question of whether slavery would expand into the new territories gained from the Mexican War was tearing the country apart. Fillmore's biggest challenge, and his most lasting legacy, was dealing with the slavery crisis. Southern states were threatening secession if slavery wasn't allowed in the new territories. Northern states were equally determined to prevent slavery's expansion. Enter Henry Clay's Compromise of 1850, a complex package deal that tried to give both sides something they wanted. California would enter as a free state, but the rest of the Mexican territories would decide for themselves. The slave trade would be banned in Washington, D.C., but slavery itself would remain legal there. The most controversial part was the Fugitive Slave Act, which required Northern citizens to help capture escaped slaves. President Taylor had opposed the compromise, but Fillmore supported it. In September 1850, Fillmore signed all 5 bills of the compromise into law. He believed he was saving the Union from immediate breakup, and he was probably right. The compromise bought the country 10 more years of peace, though it ultimately just delayed the inevitable conflict. The rest of Fillmore's presidency was relatively quiet. He focused on economic issues, supporting the construction of railroads and promoting American trade with Asia. In 1854, he sent Commodore Matthew Perry to Japan, opening that isolated nation to American trade for the first time. However, Fillmore's support for the Fugitive Slave Act made him deeply unpopular in the North. The Whig Party, already fracturing over slavery, denied him their nomination in 1852. His political career seemed over, but Fillmore wasn't done yet. In 1856, he made a comeback as the presidential candidate of the American Party, also known as the Know-Nothings. This anti-immigrant party was concerned about the growing influence of Irish and German Catholics. Fillmore won over 870,000 votes and carried Maryland, proving he still had political appeal. Millard Fillmore died in Buffalo, New York in 1874, largely forgotten by history. Modern historians often rank him among the worst presidents, primarily because of his support for the Fugitive Slave Act. But here's the thing. Fillmore faced an impossible situation and made the best decisions he could with the information he had. The Compromise of 1850 may have been morally problematic, but it prevented a civil war in 1850, giving the North crucial time to industrialize and strengthen. Was Fillmore a great president? Probably not, but was he the right person at a critical moment? That's a question worth considering. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more forgotten stories from American history.